The Chicago Bears have signed free agent center Drew Dalman to a 3-year, $42 million contract with $28 million guaranteed, essentially a 2+1 to kick off NFL free agency. My name is Harrison Graham, and welcome into Chicago Bears Now. We are live on YouTube. We're breaking this down. If you're watching this video on demand, join our live stream because we're having a lot of fun breaking down this signing and every other move in NFL free agency. Bears fans, one word. What is your one-word reaction to the Bears landing Drew Dalman in NFL free agency? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. My one word, value. I thought Drew Dalman was going to flirt with Creed Humphrey money. It made me really nervous. I was like, gosh, I like the player, but he's not perfect. But to get him at 14 per year, especially only on a 3-year contract, I think that's pretty good work by Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, and company, because in a light center free agency group, I thought that price tag was going to get 17, 18, maybe even close to $20 million, and I don't think he's worth that. But at 14, even though it's probably still a slight overpay, that's a more comfortable overpay for me, especially considering it's really just a 2-year deal. With 28 guaranteed, it's 14 per year. You do the math. It's basically a 2+1. After 2 years, if you want to get out of it, you could probably cut him pretty easily. What a job in the last 10 days by Ryan Poles and his staff to completely revamp the interior of this offensive line. And Drew Dalman was the final piece. And we heard Ben Johnson talk about it at his presser. Like, the center position is so important, especially with the young quarterback, to set the protections, to just be a tone setter in the middle. And now, I mean, if this is your group, I'm feeling pretty good, right? Like, I've said it. If Braxton Jones is your 4th or 5th best starter, that's pretty damn good. If he's your 2nd best starter, that's not very good. Now, Ryan Poles has talked about bringing in competition over there, but you get Joe Thuney, a 4-time All-Pro, 4-time Super Bowl champion, just an absolute beast who's still an All-Pro caliber player. You add Jonah Jackson for just a 6th-round pick, who didn't have a great year last year in LA. Injuries were a concern, but is familiar with Ben Johnson, and when he's right, he's a mauler at guard. I would imagine he plays at right guard. And then you get Drew Dalman to put in the center to revamp your interior offensive line before free agency and within the first half hour of the legal tampering period opening up. You got to give Ryan Poles and his staff just a green check mark. I mean, that's a hell of a job. Now, Dalman himself, we've talked about this. He's not a perfect player. He's really athletic. He's a good run blocker. He's an average to above average pass protector. Now, he has improved in that area, and I think getting 2 good guards around him helps. I think that's why that became a focal point for Poles and Johnson. Like, hey, let's get a Joe Thuney in here, maybe the most technically sound guard in the NFL. Let's get Jonah Jackson in here, a guy that can move but is also a mauler. Take a little pressure off Dalman as a pass protector. He's a really good run blocker. He can set the protections, takes pressure off of Caleb Williams. We know this team wants to run the football. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised they got him. I'm surprised they got him at $14 million per year. I thought you'd be looking at 16 plus here. So I'm really happy about this. Now, we'll see what the cap hits are, all that stuff. Let's just say it's flat. If it's a $14 million cap hit, the Bears are still flirting with north of 30-ish, $30 to $35 million in cap space, and that doesn't even include if they want to cut a couple more guys, like maybe Ryan Bates gets cut now, or if they want to restructure a contract or two. They still have money to go here, but producer Cullen, if you want to hop on screen here or just on the mic, either way, you can hop in the corner there. That's all fine with me. He was on this. I wasn't against it. I was against it at Creed Humphrey money. So to get Drew Dalman at this price tag, I think you got to feel pretty damn good if you are the Chicago Bears. And Cullen, what a job to rebuild this interior offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely incredible move here, an incredible just reshuffling of the offensive line by Ryan Poles, by Ben Johnson. Listen, when they made this initial trade for Jonah Jackson, it's like, okay, they're taking steps. They're active in the trade market. Then they go out, they trade for Joe Thuney. And I'm sitting there, and my immediate first reaction was, oh, they're getting Drew Dalman.
They're all in.
They're all in.
O-line, yeah.
And, this was clearly the best center on the market by far, whether it was free agency in the draft. Drew Dalman out from the Atlanta Falcons. You get him at $14 million per year. Whew.
I thought we were entering Creed Humphrey territory, and that is not the case. And I like this just being a 3-year deal. So if for some reason it's not a great fit, you're not tied down to him for 3 or 4 years. You're really only tied down for 2. So big fan of it. This is why you subscribe, because we're breaking down all the news. Also, we got an awesome deal for you guys. Little Bears Nike t-shirt, 45% off. Celebrate. Get yourself a tee. chatsports.com/Bears tee. That link is going to be in the description and the comments of this video. It's chatsports.com/Bears tee. Celebrate Drew Dalman. You deserve a new shirt, Bears fans. Be excited. Get yourself a new t-shirt. So Dalman comes on board as really the only question left on this offensive line is left tackle. Because Braxton Jones does have a leg injury he's recovering from. It's unclear when exactly he'll be ready. I think he'll be ready before week 1, but if he's not ready for training camp, I think you do have to get some competition in there, which is something that Ryan Poles talked about. I would imagine that competition probably comes in the draft for the Chicago Bears. There are a couple of interesting free agents like kind of reclamation type projects. You could go with like a Jedrick Wills. If you want to go with a veteran like Morgan Moses to compete over there, that is certainly an option as well. But if Jones is healthy again, if he's your 4th or 5th best starter, I mean, Joe Tooney, all-pro. Darnell Wright, ascending, really good right tackle. If Jackson's healthy in this scheme, I think he's a fit. Dalman, at worst, is in an average to above average, but at best is a really good center. I think you've got a B-plus offensive line now. On paper, they got to gel together. These guys have not played together, but, I mean, this trio to revamp the interior, which clearly was a focus. And what did Ryan Poles say? He said when you have a vision, you can be more aggressive. Well, we saw that play out. You trade for 2 starting guards and you sign Drew Dalman within the first 25 minutes of NFL free agency. I mean, that's when you have a plan and execute it. Obviously, we got to see it come to fruition on the field, but it's hard to fault that process. So I'm excited that Drew Dalman is a part of this team. If you're excited, hit that subscribe button, sub for Bears Dubs. We'll talk about some other moves in a second that the Bears could look to make in NFL free agency, but hit that subscribe button. We just crossed 118,000 subs here on the channel. We are trying to get to 119,000 as soon as possible. So if you want to support the movement, if you want to support us, and if you want to join us live, if you're not watching live, we will be live all day long, all week long, every day, at least through Thursday, potentially Friday as well. Myself, producer Colin, rocking and rolling with you. Now, the other big name that was rumored to potentially be a Bear was Khalil Mack. He re-upped with the Chargers right before the start of the legal tampering period. He signed a 1-year, $18 million fully guaranteed contract to stay with L.A. We thought that could be possible once they cut Joey Bosa. They clearly wanted to bring Mack back. When I woke up this morning, I was like, if noon Eastern gets here, I think the Bears could get him, but the Chargers did not let that happen. So now the Bears obviously got to pivot. Moves are happening left and right, but just names to throw out there for this defensive line. Chase Young. I know there was a rumor that he could end up back with the Saints, but as of now, that has not happened. We did see Hassan Reddick go off the market, so he will not be an option. Do you go after like a Deo Adengbo from the Colts? He's considered a young ascending talent in this league. What about a guy like Josh Sweat? Are you willing to get in those waters, even though he's probably going to cost a lot of money? You could go, a little cheaper option. I think a name to watch is Zadarius Smith. The Lions cut him, I believe, yesterday. He could be a guy on a 1 or 2 year deal, maybe a DeMarcus Lawrence. So there's still guys out there, but it's not going to be Khalil Mack, unfortunately. But feel good about Dalman. You're good on the offensive line for now. I think now edge rusher, and then number 3 wide receiver. I think those are the type of moves you're looking at next in free agency. Potentially a defensive tackle as well. Quick note, by the way, in the division, Jonathan Allen visiting with the Minnesota Vikings today. Brian Flores getting his hands on Allen. I do not love that, so I would love the Bears to show some interest there. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But Drew Dalman is a Chicago Bear. Grade the signing of Dalman to Chicago. Braxton Berrios to the Texans. Braxton Berrios is not a day one signing, by the way. That is bizarre that Houston did that. But grade the signing of Dalman, A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know what you think about that one. And subscribe and join us all day long, baby. Turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we're live and when we publish content here on Chicago Bears Now.